No, that's 1, 2, 4, 3. Yep, 3 text messages.
And go back even further, yeah.
Yep, and that one from Tuesday he didn't reply to. 2
Not
from
even a
Tuesday.
reaction?
3 from Tuesday he didn't.
De l'Afghanistan.
Medicare Advantage programs.
All right, as you can see and you can hear, I got it working. And it was a combination of wires in the wrong place, parts missing, and then to top it all off, the capacitors in the flower pot, in the flower pots underneath. Let me show you. For those people that never seen one of these before, here's my power supply coming off. I'll flip it over. And underneath you got what's called flower pot capacitors. I have no BFO in this unit. The guy stole it or took it out. He gutted it. Between using other radios, I was able to get a full set of flower pot capacitors. And this one and this one over here, the capacitors were open. If you test it in the circuit, you're going to see the resistance of the circuit. And those capacitors, they're over 50 years old. You know, the date on this is on the other side, but it's like 1945. And those capacitors are the cheapest junk you'd ever want to see. And I showed you inside on past videos, but I got it working. I stayed with it. And it compared to the, was it the DX390, it does pretty good, but it needs 20 feet of wire. And if the station's in another direction, you have to run the wire in a different direction. It uses a long wire. So it might not be, you know, the best radio in your collection, but now I have a complete set of command radios. There's 5 total. Well, there is one more that there's nothing on that frequency. It's before, it's like 1.5 to 3 megacycles or megahertz radio, and I have no use for that. And so I have 4 out of the 5. Some are ARCs and some are BC, like 3, was it 455, 453, 454? Well, anyway, I got it working. I stayed with it, and it was bodged beyond all belief. At one point, I realized the guy had done a really great job on rewiring the filaments. So good of a job, I couldn't figure out where he made the changes. And it was very hard for me to get the filaments running. And then when I went to the next step, he had a lot of AGC stuff he was playing with. This radio never worked. So what he did was, I guess when he couldn't get one section to work, he just went on with another mod. Or at one point it was working, and then he bodged it up and then kept trying to fix it and made it worse. But there were places where, what would you call it, the cathode of the tube would go to ground, and he lifted that off like the gain control, and he ran it to different places. And it could have been an AGC that I haven't found yet. There are AGC modifications for this radio. Now, that one last station I just had on, it was distorting until I turned the gain control. That's because it's only 4 miles from here, the station, and it will distort. So you just turn the gain control back. But some people have to have AGC. Now, what the AGC does, if you tune it up and down the dial, it gives you maximum sensitivity. And then if you hit a strong station, it cuts back the gain, so it doesn't distort. What I do is I put the gain control all the way up. I look for stations, and then if it's too loud, I turn the gain control back. It's all the same thing. Well, anyway, got it done. This is my final video on these things. This is probably my last tube set. Oh, I do have a transmitter I'm going to be working on. But, you know, our electricity just went up here, 25%. One of the neighbors was telling me, He says, you know, our electricity is going up 25%. I'm like, no way. I've never seen an increase, ever, of 25% in my lifetime on electricity. And they're claiming it's because natural gas has gone up. It's all political, but that's 25% more. So I called the guy back up. I said, you know, you were right. And I said, they kind of talked about it during the summer, about it going up. And then, you know, we had COVID running around. We had the extreme heat. And at that time, you weren't going to argue 25% because it was so damn hot. You had to have the air conditioner on. So that's what's going on. So running one of these things nowadays, a transistor radio like this, probably 80 milliamps, it probably pulls at 6 volts. This thing, almost with the let's see, the 500 milliamps just for the filaments. Okay, so with the B plus on and that, so that would be 500. So it's a big difference between this thing and a transistor radio and this. This is just a room heater, a space heater, you know. But it was fun for a few minutes, and then I started finding the wirings they're in the wrong place, and then you know, it really sucks to have to go through a complete schematic, step by step, wire by wire, in order to find the ones that are in the wrong place. It also is annoying to go step by step through each section to find out what parts are missing. And this is the type of stuff you get on eDumpster. Now, there's a club that's selling radios on eDumpster, and it's, you know, the proceeds go towards the club. It's a bunch of people that meet once a week, probably have a meal, talk about old radios. But anyway, you could say the money goes to a good cause. And it's also supposed to be a museum. But they're selling off radios that people have donated to them, which I don't know if that was the deal when they took it from the person. But a lot of these radios have been bodged. Like I said, go look at any one of those conversion manuals, and it tells you immediately got the BFO, but got the BFO coil, got the audio output. Okay, and there are manuals that tell you just get an old filament transformer and use that on the output. You take the output of the audio transformer and run it to that, and that's what I have inside my box. There are good conversion manuals, and there's a real good one on the transmitter. The guy warns you about deox. If you put deox in the wrong spot on a transmitter, when you key it up, it's going to arc. It's going to short out. And I like that article. The guy was warning you, don't use this here, clean it this way here, clean it that way, dry it off over here. And that's the one I'm going to use on the transmitter. But I'm taking a break because this radio, I don't know how many days. Did I spend 5 days more on it every day? It wasn't any fun. It started out fun. It always starts out fun. And then, you know you're going to have to rebuild these capacitors. But this thing was in such bad shape, wires-wise, you know, and bodged, that I said, you know, let me get it working and doing something before I change the capacitors. Now, I did use the capacitors, the disc capacitors, from a different radio that had been modified and didn't work, and the guy cut holes in it. You know, these radios, it's sad what people did to it. But a lot of it is in the conversion manuals, and it's all about how the person perceives the conversion. In other words, when they tell them to gut it and to drill a few holes, how big a hole, you know? And it's sad what got done to them. But anyway, I think that's it. All right, that's it.